Have you ever reached a season in life when you suddenly realize that the people you thought you could lean on are not always there? Maybe your children are busy with their own families, your siblings are managing their own health struggles, and some dear friends have either moved away or passed on. It can feel like the safety net you once trusted has slowly thinned out. That realization can be painful, even frightening. We grow up believing that family will always be our strongest support, that friends will always walk beside us, but aging often teaches us another truth. Sometimes the very people we expected to lean on cannot be there in the way we hoped. And when that moment comes, it can shake us to our core. But here's the beautiful part. While people may come and go, there are other forms of support that never leave us. Supports that live within us and around us, if only we take time to recognize and nurture them. These supports are quiet but powerful. They don't get weaker with time. In fact, they grow stronger the more we invest in them. This video isn't about bitterness or disappointment. It's about wisdom. It's about discovering 5 overlooked foundations that can carry you into your 70s, 80s, and beyond with strength, dignity, and peace. They are not dependent on anyone else's choices. They are yours to build, yours to protect, and yours to lean on. So today, I want to invite you into a different way of thinking about aging. Instead of asking, who will be there for me? Let's ask, what can I build inside myself that no one can take away? Because when you learn to stand on these 5 supports, you don't just survive the later years of life, you thrive. Let's begin with the very first pillar, your mobility. Now, when I say mobility, I don't just mean running marathons or doing something dramatic. I'm talking about the simple, everyday ability to move your body with confidence, getting out of bed in the morning without needing help, cooking your own breakfast, stepping outside to breathe fresh air, or walking through the grocery store aisles on your own. These small freedoms may seem ordinary, but in truth, they are the foundation of dignity and independence. The fear of losing mobility is one of the biggest worries as we grow older. Many people quietly carry that fear of becoming a burden, of needing someone else for every little task. But here's the truth. Mobility is not only about the body, it's also about the mind. When you keep moving, you give yourself courage. You remind yourself that you can still trust your own 2 feet. I once met a gentleman named Harold, 78 years old, who walks laps at his local park every morning with a cane. Rain or shine, he shows up. I asked him once why he was so consistent, and he smiled and said, "Because the day I stop walking is the day I start waiting for someone else to live my life for me. I don't want to wait, I want to live." That's the power of mobility. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Stretch while your coffee brews. Take an extra lap down the hallway. Do a few light exercises with resistance bands. Every small action is like making a deposit into your independence bank. The more you put in, the more freedom and confidence you get back. So if you're feeling stiff or unsteady, don't despair. Start small, start today. Because mobility is not only physical support, it's emotional support too. It's the foundation that walks with you every step of the way. The second pillar of lasting independence is something we don't often talk about openly, our relationship with money. At this stage of life, peace of mind doesn't come from how big your bank account is. It comes from clarity, from simplicity, and from knowing exactly what you need and how to manage it without stress. You see, complicated finances can weigh heavily on the heart. Juggling multiple accounts, credit cards, endless subscriptions, it doesn't just create confusion, it creates anxiety, and anxiety robs you of sleep, stability, and joy. Simplifying your finances is like clearing out a cluttered closet. Once things are in order, you can breathe easier. You know where everything is, what belongs and what doesn't. It doesn't mean you're giving up control. it means you're taking back control. I think of my neighbour Lorraine, a 74-year-old widow who once worked as a librarian. After her husband passed, she realised she felt overwhelmed every time she opened the mailbox. Bills, statements, notices, it all felt like too much. So she made a brave choice. She downsized her home, cut back on expenses, kept only one credit card, and cancelled every subscription she didn't truly use. Now she says, "I no longer dread the mail. I open every envelope with a calm heart." That is the gift of financial simplicity. It takes away fear. It removes the need to rely on children or relatives to sort things out. You become the captain of your own ship again. So, if money matters feel overwhelming, take one small step. Write down what comes in and what goes out. Cancel what you don't use. Combine what you can. Make it so clear you could explain it over coffee with a friend. Because true peace isn't in the numbers, it's in the knowing. And that kind of calm is worth more than money itself. The third pillar of a strong, independent life is something simple, but often overlooked: a steady health routine. Now, I'm not talking about expensive supplements or trendy workouts. I mean the small, ordinary habits that, when practiced every day, quietly keep you strong and steady. Things like walking around the block, drinking enough water, stretching your legs, taking your medications on time, and choosing food that fuels you instead of just filling you. Why does routine matter so much? Because it takes you out of crisis. Many people wait until something breaks down before they take their health seriously. But by then, it's harder to repair. A routine is like patching the roof while the sun is shining. It keeps you safe before the storm ever comes. There's also another gift a routine brings: peace of mind. When you know what you're doing each morning, when your body and mind follow a rhythm, you don't waste energy asking yourself, "Should I do this today?" You simply do it. That predictability creates stability, and stability builds confidence. I think of Frank, an 81-year-old former electrician I met. Every morning at 6 a.m, he brews a cup of green tea, spends 15 minutes doing chair stretches, takes his medicine and walks around his neighborhood. Rain or shine, he never misses it. When I asked him why, he said, "It's not about exercise, it's about reminding myself every day that I still matter." That struck me deeply. His routine is more than physical care, it's emotional care. It's an anchor for his identity. So don't worry about perfection. Start small. One walk, one glass of water, one gentle stretch. Over time, those little acts form a net that holds you up and whispers, "I've got you." The fourth pillar is perhaps the most invisible, yet the most powerful of all: emotional resilience. As we get older, life inevitably brings losses and changes. A spouse may pass away, children may drift into their own busy lives, friends may leave this world before we're ready to say goodbye. And in those quiet moments, the weight of loneliness or grief can feel unbearable. But resilience doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means you can sit with it, honor it, and let it pass through you without letting it destroy you. Emotional strength is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about whispering to yourself, "This hurts, but I can face it." I once spoke with a woman named Eileen, 77 years old, who lost her husband after decades of marriage. She shared a simple ritual. Every night she lights a candle. Sometimes she cries, sometimes she smiles at the memories, but every evening she tells herself, "You made it through today." That candle isn't about religion, it's about resilience, a reminder of her inner light that still burns. That's what emotional resilience looks like. It's not grand or dramatic, it's the quiet courage to keep moving through sorrow, disappointment, and change. It's the strength that says, "Even when others let me down, I will not abandon myself." And the beautiful truth, emotional resilience can be cultivated. Write in a journal, take walks in nature, listen to music that stirs your heart, speak to yourself with kindness as you would to a dear friend. And above all, remember this: You have already survived every hard day up to this point. That is not luck, that is strength. When your emotions are steady, life may shake you, but it cannot shatter you. That resilience becomes your shield, your anchor, and your freedom. The fifth and final pillar of true independence is something deeply personal, a code of values to live by. As the years pass, the roles we once held may fade. Jobs end, children grow up, social circles shrink, and when those external identities are gone, the question becomes, who am I, really? The answer, my friend, is found in your values. A personal code is like an inner compass. It points you back to yourself when the world around you changes. It reminds you of what truly matters: honesty, kindness, simplicity, self-respect, whatever values resonate most with your soul. I once met Howard, a man in his mid-80s, who told me about his 5 simple rules for living. Always tell the truth, never waste anything, return what you borrow, forgive quickly, and go to bed with a clear heart. He said those rules carried him through the loss of friends, through health scares, even through days when he felt forgotten. His values gave him an identity no illness, no disappointment, and no loneliness could take away. Living by a personal code also removes the heavy burden of needing approval from others. When you know your own values, you don't need to chase validation. You stand on solid ground. And research has shown that older adults who live with clear values often report greater peace, stronger resilience, and even sharper mental clarity. So take a moment to reflect. What are the values you want to carry forward? Write them down. Live by them daily. Let them be your anchor, because while the body may change and circumstances may shift, your values can remain unshakable. And in that steadiness, you will always find freedom, dignity, and peace. So here we are, dear friend, at the end of this reflection on aging with dignity and strength. We've walked through 5 powerful supports: mobility, financial simplicity, health routines, emotional resilience, and a personal code of values. And together, they create something remarkable, a foundation that no one can take from you. Because the truth is, after 70, life changes. Family may not always be near, friends may drift away, the support systems we once leaned on may not be as steady as they were. But that doesn't mean we are left empty-handed. It means we are invited to discover a deeper strength, the kind that grows from within. Aging well is not about denying the years, it's about embracing them with wisdom. It's about saying, I may move slower, but I still move. I may live with less, but I live with clarity. I may grieve, but I also rise. And here is the beautiful part. You don't need to do everything all at once. Transformation doesn't come in a rush. It comes in gentle, faithful steps. A short walk, a small act of kindness to yourself, a moment of journaling, a choice to forgive, a value you choose to honor today. These are the quiet bricks that build the strong house of your life. So let me leave you with this encouragement. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these supports do you already carry with you? Which one could you begin to strengthen even today? You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are the author of this next chapter. And with each step, small but steady, you are writing a story of resilience, independence, and peace. And perhaps in doing so, you'll discover that aging well is not about holding on. It's about letting go of what doesn't matter and holding closer to what always will.